people, it's me, Anja. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new video. Today's video is inspired by two things. First of all, happy Women's History Month, and second of all, I've noticed lately that the majority of the Sapphic books that I read are white. So today, I wanted to focus on my favorite QPOC Sapphic books. So, the first book on this list is called Afterlove. This book is a YA, paranormal fantasy, and it follows a South Asian lesbian who's about to become a reaper in the afterlife, but she wants to see her first love again. This book is so good, and it's worth all the hype and so much more, and I really enjoyed it. First of all, the world building was so interesting, and it was so intriguing, and it was really well done. The plot was so intriguing, so fast-paced, and absolutely so engaging. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The Sapphic romance was so cute, and it was so well developed, and I really enjoyed it. This book is so awesome, and it's absolutely the lesbian love story that you've been dying to read because it's so good. Like I said, this book is worth all of its hype and so much more, so with that, I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Last Night at the Telegraph Club. This book is a YA historical fiction following a Chinese lesbian in the 1950s during San Francisco's Red Scale. This book is so good, and it's so well done. First of all, the setting is so vivid, and it's so well done and so well researched, and I really enjoyed it. I really appreciated how the author talked about the rampant homophobia and racism that occurred in the 1950s that unfortunately continues to be rampant to this day. The plot was so intriguing and it was so engaging. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The romance was so cute, and I absolutely fell in love with it. This story deserves all the hype and so much more because it's absolutely so good. I will gladly read more from this author in the future because her writing is so good and it's so lovely and it's absolutely so lyrical. This book deserves all the hype because it's so awesome and it's so well done. The romance, the Sapphic lesbian representation, the plot, the setting, the historical context. This book is absolutely so awesome, and with that I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Off the Record. This book has a trigger warning on it for sexual assault because it's a YA contemporary following a young, black, bisexual teenager journalist who uncovers the scandal of a lifetime, which includes sexual assault. This book is so good, and it's so well done, and I really enjoy it. The main character is also plus size, and she also has anxiety, so there's some great representation in this book. It's so good, but even aside from the representation, and also her love interest is bisexual too. But anyway, aside from the representation, this book is excellent, and it's so emotional, and it's so well done, and I really liked it. The plot was so thrilling, and it was so intriguing, and it was absolutely so engaging. The characters are so well developed and so distinct. The romance was so well developed too. This book is so awesome, and I really enjoyed how the author tackled this very sensitive subject without sweeping it under the rug or making it seem like it's less of a big deal than it actually is, if that makes any sense. This book is so awesome, and it definitely exceeded my very low expectations for it, and I really enjoyed it. So with that, I would highly recommend it. But like I mentioned earlier, there's a huge trigger warning on this book for sexual assault, so please be aware of that. The next book on this list is called The Mello Season. There is also a trigger warning on this book for sexual assault because this book is a YA magical realism following a pansexual Latinx girl who starts a cautious friendship with another boy after discovering that they were both sexually assaulted at the same party. This book is so good. It was one of my favorites of 2021 because it was so amazing and it was so well done. First of all, the writing is so beautiful and it's absolutely so lyrical. This book is definitely my favorite by this author, and I believe I've read all of their books. If not, there's one book that I haven't read by them. I don't think I've read Wild Beauty. But anyway, this book was so good, and it's totally worth all of its hype and so much more. I'm so excited for the next book, which I believe is called Lake Roll, and I don't remember if it's out already by the time that you're watching this video. But anyway, the point is, This book was so good. The writing is so lyrical and it's absolutely so pretty. The world building is so well done and it's so wonderful. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The pansexual representation was spot on and I really enjoyed it. The romance was so well developed and it was absolutely so cute. I fell in love with every single element of the story and that's why I rated it 5 stars. And it also made me cry, so we love to see it. This book was so awesome and it was so emotional, and with that I would highly recommend it. But again, please be aware of the sexual assault trigger warning. The next book on this list is called Ophelia, Afterlove. This book is a YA contemporary following a young, half-Irish, half-Cuban girl who's navigating the end of high school friendship drama and her own queerness. This book is so good. It's absolutely worth all of its hype and so much more because I really enjoyed it. First of all, the plot is so engaging and it's so intriguing and it's really well written. Second of all, the characters are so well developed and so distinct. Third of all, the friendships are so authentic and so realistic and I really enjoyed them. Fourth of all, the queer representation was so good and it was absolutely so lovely. The writing is so amazing and it's so well done. The story is so authentic and it's so emotional and it's absolutely so excellent. I really enjoyed this book and I will gladly read more books from this author in the future because she is so talented. I can really tell that this is the story from her heart. You know what I mean? Because it felt so timely and so authentic and so well done. So with that, I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called The Grimrose Girls. This book is a YA fantasy contemporary following 4 best friends who are investigating the murder of their best friend, and they're also uncovering connections to ancient fairy tales along the way. If you're curious as to why this book constitutes for this list, one of the 4 main characters is half Black and half Native Hawaiian, and she's also a lesbian. But of the 4 main characters, all of them are queer because 2 of them are lesbians, and like I mentioned, one of them is a person of color. There's also an Asian Aro ace main character, and one of the other characters is bisexual and demisexual, and there's also chronic illness and OCD and anxiety representation. But even aside from the representation, these characters are so well developed and so distinct, and I really felt so emotionally attached to every single one of them individually, as well as their dynamic together. Like, the friendship between the 4 of them is so well done and it's so well developed. The world building in this story was so engaging and it was so intriguing. The plot is so thrilling and it absolutely kept me hooked from the beginning to the end. I'm so excited to read the sequel to this book, which I believe is called This Wicked Remain or something like that, and it comes out in November of this year. But anyway, I'm so excited for it because this book was so good and it's absolutely worth all the hype and so much more. So with that, I would highly recommend it. The last book on this list, and certainly not the least because I feel like I talk about this book all the time, is called This Is What It Feels Like. This book is a YA contemporary following a trio of 4 best friends, all of which are Black, and one of them is also a lesbian, who are competing in a musical competition. This book is so good, and it's so well done. First of all, the 3 main characters are such distinct, well-developed characters, and I was emotionally attached to all of them. The side Sapphic romance was so well developed and it was absolutely so fluffy and so cute. The plot of the story is so good and it's so thrilling and it's absolutely so intriguing and engaging. The friendship was so authentic and it was so realistic and I really enjoyed it. This book deserves all the hype and so much more because it's absolutely so underrated and it's so good. This book is absolutely so awesome and I really enjoyed it. So with that, I would highly recommend it. So, in conclusion, first of all, happy Women's History Month. Second of all, I hope that this video is a reminder to continue to be reading about queer people of color and not just queer white people. I hope that this video helps diversify your bookshelf in that direction. So, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the pink heart emoji, any of them, if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video.